Greetings and welcome to another Starship Review. Today we're going to be looking at the Constitution Legendary Temporal Flight Deck Carrier. This is part 9 in my ongoing series reviewing all the ships from the Legendary Bundle. This one is going to be relatively short and sweet. The Legendary Donnie has a short lineage with just one counterpart, the promo Miracle Worker Flight Deck Carrier. When the ship came out, it was very controversial. At the time, it was still a flight deck cruiser, and those only had one hangar bay, but the Donnie had two. Add into that the advanced beam arrays it unlocked, which were significantly better than any other beam array at the time, and many players saw it as a form of power creep. The ship itself was above average to be sure, but nothing game-breaking, and they relatively promptly nerfed the beam arrays. Then we had a big change, and they upgraded all flight deck cruisers to flight deck carriers, and this made the Donnie a 5.3 Miracle Worker ship that could slot dual cannons and had two hangar bays. A significant improvement. Still not enough to unseat the Juggernaut, but a large power boost all the same. Quite the tale for a single ship, almost making it legendary in its own right. Compared to the promo Donnie, the Legendary Donnie is a downgrade, but compared to the average ship, it's still very good. The Legendary Donnie mostly trades away the Miracle Worker and Command seating for two Temporal seats. The promo version has the seating for better energy weapon and torpedo builds, while the Legendary version struggles to make use of its Temporal seating. Other than slapping on recursive shearing and hoping for the best, there isn't much a ship like this can do with it, at least performance-wise, and I find the seating overall to be less favorable. The promo Donnie can use a Lieutenant Commander Science if it wants to, but doesn't force it on you, while the Legendary Donnie does, making you choose between a Lieutenant Commander Tactical or a Lieutenant Commander Science. Still, it's not bad seating, and you can make it work for whatever you want using the Lieutenant Commander Universal. But I would have liked to have seen the Ensign Engineering be a universal as well. Power bonuses are also lacking, with plus 10 to aux on a ship that isn't really equipped to do much with it. Likewise, the console layout is very weak for DPS with only 3 tactical console slots. The promo version at least had the saving grace of a universal console slot afforded it by the Miracle Worker specialization to use the 4 tactical. It's all serviceable, but the only ideal thing here is the weapon layout. Let's look at the console and traits. First up, the Legacy trait, Polarized Lattice Optimized Tritanium Armor, aka Plot Armor. Very clever, Cryptic. It's a decent survival trait that gives huge buffs when you take more than 20% of your health and damage in a 5-second window, and can activate once per 45 seconds, which is more generous than many traits with internal cooldowns. Not only does it give you a massive heal, but it also gives you a massive 250 all damage resistance for 15 seconds, and removes hazards. And makes you immune to transport warheads, but that doesn't seem like much of a feature. This seems like a very good trait for a tank, and as an automatic get-out-of-jail-free card. The resistances aren't bonus though, so I haven't actually tried this for any serious tank build, but compared to a lot of other extremely underwhelming survival traits, this one looks like it has some teeth. And now for the new trait, Weaponized Time Crystals. While under the effect of a special firing mode, it applies a debuff to enemies that does stacking anti-proton damage for 20 seconds. I don't have the gear to fully kit out an anti-proton build, but I did stack as many anti-proton buffs on a ship as I could to try it out, and it clocked in at around 6k. Not bad, but I'm not sure if it's worth it. The central problem comes down to two things, the inability for it to have critical hits, and that the core mechanic is self-defeating. What I mean by that is that when you go into combat, you want to kill your enemy as quickly as possible, but the damage over time effect does the most damage when things die slowly. It reverse scales with your build. The more damage you do, the weaker it becomes, because you kill things faster and then it has less time to do its tick damage. It's certainly more useful on elite difficulty, or on maps that have enemies with huge hit pools like the Borg Queen or the Gateway in ISE, but even then you're probably better off using traits that give benefits that scale with your playstyle, like firing cycle haste, bonus exotic damage, or whatever. It's not a bad trait and certainly something to consider for anti-proton builds, but I just think it's a bit too on the weak side. Let us now consider the Legacy console, Reinforcing Squadrons, which gives some moderate kinetic damage resistance and shield hit points as passives, and comes with a clicky of the same name that launches hangar pets that come with the ship at your target and gives them 25% bonus damage. It's a great console if you're trying to stack as many pets as possible, which is a fun build a lot of people do, but probably not optimal in terms of damage. Speaking of pets, let's talk about the Tactical Flyer Squadrons. These pets are unique as each individual fighter is really a squadron of mini-fighters. They have beam arrays, emergency power to weapons, and directed energy modulation for some shield pen. And they certainly look spectacular all flying around, showering your enemy in beam hits, but they don't perform any better than a bog standard faction fighter pet. It's nice to have a premium pet unlocked account-wide, and whether you want to use them will probably depend on whether or not you like the visual clutter and the feel of having a giant fleet aiding you, or whether you find it distracting. I'm in the latter camp. It's already hard enough to tell what's going on with all the special effects on screen. Normally I would complain that these aren't new, but since they were previously hidden behind a single character promo paywall, this seems like enough value to justify not including new pets. But there's still no excuse for the Odyssey though. And that's about it. What I liked: the plot armor trait, account unlocked promo pets, and the account unlocked advanced phasers and disruptors. This ship feels like it provides a lot of value, and that's a good thing. What I didn't like: the ship chassis is barely serviceable and a pale imitation of its big brother. I like what the ship unlocks, but I'm not really interested in flying it. Before I give it a rating, I need to discuss my new rating system. I asked you guys to chime in, and it's clear that people want more nuance in the scoring system. A single number just boils things down too much. But I also want to move to a 5-star system instead of a number rating, so I've decided to give this ship and ships in the future 2 different ratings. One for performance, relative to its intended role. I can't fault a raider for having a low hull modifier or a cruiser for being bad at science, as well as its maximum DPS potential. This is basically the score for the ship itself and not anything that it comes with. The second rating will be for accessories, traits, consoles, pets, and that sort of thing, as well as any extra intangibles, like if I don't like the way it looks or something like that. This is obviously going to be more influenced by my personal taste, but I'll try not to go too far down that rabbit hole. So, how does the legendary Donnie stand up? Well, for performance, I give it 3 stars out of 5. The 5-3 weapon layout, ability to use dual cannons and 2 hangar bays does give it some strength, but a lousy console layout, lack of weapon system efficiency, and one of the weaker specializations for non-science seating does bring it down. As for the accessories, the beam arrays are the best in the game, and everything else is at least decent or better. The ship has a premium feel to it rather than the C-store feel that some of the other legendary ships have had, and quite frankly, those beam arrays alone justify 5 stars in my opinion. It's simply one of the highest value things in the entire bundle. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it to the end of the video and you liked it, then please leave a like, and if you want to see more of my stuff, please consider subscribing. Let me know what you think of the new rating system. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.